But the big news, I don't want to say it's Patriots related, but it kind of inherently is Patriots related, and that is that Raiders left tackle Kolton Miller is not participating in voluntary OTAs or voluntary offseason program out in Las Vegas as he seeks a contract extension. This was reported last night by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. He's 29 years old. He's a 7-year starter and is set to be a free agent next offseason. And then Fowler also followed up that the team and Miller have yet to engage in contract talks. So it kind of feels like they're at a standstill. And that becomes Patriots adjacent news because, as we know, they have two big holes in left tackle and wide receiver that still need to be filled. They sit at number 4. We're into the Will Campbell talk. We're into the Armand Membu talk. Don't know what they should do. But now it sounds like there might be a left tackle, Taylor, on the market. So we'll start with this. Miller also missing voluntary OTAs to me is a big deal for many reasons, but he is a team captain and he's been a team captain there for 3 years. So if one of your leaders is missing the voluntary stuff, I understand you got to take care of yourself in the contract and blah, 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 but there's something to that. So this feels very real to me. And I think that there would be a chance at least that he could be on the trade market. So wanted to get your thoughts on it and ask you point blank, should the Patriots be in the market for trading for Kolton Miller if it does come to that?
I think they absolutely should be in the market because this is the team that still doesn't have its left tackle. Tyron Smith retired, the career Cowboys left tackle. Most of his career, obviously, ended it with the Jets for that one season. But, I mean, it would make sense because you don't want to go into the season with Vidarian Lowe. And the way I see it, I don't want to say unless, because it doesn't disqualify you from taking another offensive lineman with your top pick or anything like that. But at least it gives you more flexibility having a career left tackle who Josh McDaniels has experience with. He was a captain, obviously, for Josh McDaniels Raiders, so he's very familiar with the player. And him sitting out, like, I don't really mind. If it's for a contract thing, like, you got to take care of yourself. I get that. I don't really mind. And Vrabel, like, if he's willing to, kind of be tolerant of good players when it comes to, I don't know. I'm referencing that clip I keep thinking of where he talks about.
And the thing, right. Well, the thing with him missing it too, I don't hold that against him. It just tells me that there's actually a real rift there and that they're not close. Because if they were close and there was some sort of agreement, communication, idea that we can get to something, he would likely be there because he is a leader and has been a leader of that team for so long.
Yeah, so the leadership and then the veteran presence. So it will just give you more stability on the offensive line, where then the left guard spot is probably the one that's at least a competition, right? You got City, so you got Layden Robinson, maybe Cole Strange if he's in the mix there as well. And center is probably still your worst position. I think, Layden Robinson, if he continues to grow, is probably going to be a better player for you overall. But I think they absolutely should be in on Kolton Miller. Maybe not for like a second-round pick because he is still a good left tackle. He's approaching 30, but you still got Ronnie Stanley playing some really good ball last season when he was 30 years old. So I don't really think it's going to keep him from getting good capital, whatever the Raiders are trying to get from him. I think it's probably going to be more like a third-round pick. And if it's the Judon pick, I'm totally fine with that. You buy yourself from time at that left tackle position, maybe pounce in a draft where you have more quality options and you're in position to get a player who maybe has more upside than a Will Campbell. And you can still get a Will Campbell or, whatever else you want at the top of the draft and maybe just reinforce that offensive line even more. Although I don't love the idea of drafting Will Campbell to be a guard. But either way, I absolutely think the Patriots should be in on Kolton Miller because he's one of the few good left tackles that is even remotely available at this point.
So if they do, then let's play this game. We'll get into the mock draft situation in a little while, but let's say they do trade for Kolton Miller, and let's say they do use one of their third-round picks on him, just for an exercise, right? Because I'm with you. I don't think I would give up 38 either. I think at that point, you're better off either using 38 or 4 at the tackle position than having those two things instead of having number 4, Kolton Miller, and kind of moving it that way. So we'll use use the third-round pick as the trade compensation. If they do trade for Kolton Miller, they sign him to an extension. Now you're sitting there at pick number 4. What do you do if you're the Patriots?
I entertain the idea of Ashton Jeanty at this point.
Okay.
Because then if you do want to take the best player available, it's him. And there's not really – he's the only other blue-chip type of player that's going to be available, getting comps to LaDainian Tomlinson. And I've seen the light after the whole, like, you don't want to replace Demario Douglas. I still think that, with a roster that has a ton of holes, you don't necessarily want to shove down your good players. But at the same time, Ashton Genty is going to be a better player than Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre, as good as he is, you know, he's not locked in terms of someone you absolutely know you can rely on. And Antonio Gibson is someone whose contract can get out at pretty early next year.
Sure.
So I would at least entertain the idea of Genty at that point. Again, Will Campbell, if you do like him at guard, and if he said he's willing to play whatever the coaches that drafted tell him to do. But I like the idea of just going crazy and then really loading up that front. But also if they like Layden Robinson, I mean, I think he has quality upside if he's someone that Doug Marrone really knows how to get the best out of. So I don't know. I got so excited about this. I texted the group chat. I was like, do we take Genty now? Like, what happens here?
I'm with you as far as excitement, because it feels like a real opportunity here. It's not a pipe dream. It's not like we're just saying, hey, go trade for this guy and he's under contract for 3 years and hanging out. Like, he's clearly at an impasse with Vegas, and of course there's a chance that they make it happen and they come to agreement and everything's great. But as of right now, as we sit here, like, there's a reason that report came out yesterday. It's right, a week before the draft. He's not at OTAs. They can't get a deal done, as Jeremy Fowler said. They're not there yet. So I do think there's reason to be relatively excited for this, because the Patriots have also been aggressive when these types of things have happened so far this offseason. You talk about Garrett Bradbury, who they signed Ryan Kelly in Minnesota, and then they cut Bradbury, and everyone's like, oh, the Patriots should go get him. It felt like everyone jokingly, or putting the Patriot meme on Garrett Bradbury because they need a center, and everybody does this, but then they actually make it happen. So they've been relatively aggressive at this position along the offensive line so far. Morgan Moses as well. Perhaps they go do it again. So I'm all for it as well. I do think there's a realistic chance that they do at least try and make something happen prior to the draft. And it should be exciting, because then it puts them in position to acquire some other impact players and not feel shoehorned into Will Campbell, who already has question marks and has not yet proven that he can play left tackle. So no, I do think that it's a real possibility. I would say, for me, I still don't want to go Genty at number 4. I think I'm still just, I don't know about, that's the thing. I don't know about running back at number 4. I just can't do it. You have a guy in Ramondre, and it's not like Genty's the missing piece, right? Where, like, Saquon was to Philly. Like, that's just not the situation the Patriots are in right now. I would entertain Ted McMillan. I would entertain Jalen Walker. They've been connected to him for a while. And you might miss out on Abdul Carter if he goes 4 or goes 3 to the Giants. Here's an interesting one once I get through this thought. So I would entertain Jalen Walker because he's been connected to the team. They clearly like him. At that point, I don't think you're going to be getting enough to then trade back out of 4. That would be ideal. You trade for Miller, you trade out of 4, you get more capital back, and then you start cooking and moving around. But the one I just thought about, Taylor, is what if you go trade for Colton Miller, Shedeur goes 3, and then you end up with Abdul Carter at number 4. So then you get your left tackle, you get your dominant top tier player in the class at edge rusher and Carter. You don't have to settle for Walker, which again, that's a debate in its own right now. And then all that you have left is wide receiver at 38, where you can either maybe use some more capital and trade up or whatever. So what it does is give you a bunch of different options. And I think that's what's most exciting about the potential of this trade.
What do you think it would look like if the Raiders wanted to move up in the draft and package Colton Miller? So they have 6, right?
They have 6. Now we're talking. Okay.
How would that work? I'm not good at these trade scenarios. That's not my area of expertise.
Me either. So I'm just kind of like,
I should have texted Barth before. I'll text him right now. See what he says.
See if he wants to pop in for a quick second. We can go
call
through
him.
it. Yeah, we're live to tape.
Can you talk and I'll see if he be down to go on air?
Yeah, try it. See what happens.
Right.
But on that note, why we're calling Barth is because we don't know these trade situations very well. Like, you talk about the Raiders at 6, the Patriots at 4. Like, go ahead. You're muted. Oh, you're talking to Barth. Duh. In my opinion, I would personally think about moving back from 4 to 6 just to get Colton Miller. I don't know if that's something the Raiders would do. They just throw us Miller to move up 2 spots. I don't know if that works, but maybe that's not enough. We have him.
I've got Barth on. He's in the car, but I
Okay.
asked him. Okay, so Barth,
Alex, welcome
hi
in.
to
Welcome
everyone.
into Pat's Daily.
Hello.
He says hello. Okay, so Bud, we are trying to figure out what it would look like if the Patriots and Raiders wanted to flip their first round picks and involve Colton Miller in that deal. What do you think it would look like?
Well, so my first question is, what is the incentive for the Raiders there, right? Are they flipping picks with the idea they're going to take Will Campbell at 4? Like, if you're the Raiders, you have to ask yourself, would you rather move up 3 spots, or would you rather get an additional pick?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's worth more? I don't mean to totally sidetrack the conversation, but I've been thinking about this. What's worth more, moving from 6 to 3 in this draft, or getting, say, 38?
I think for them getting 38, they have Geno. If they didn't have a quarterback, I might go the other way, but I think more picks might be better for them.
If I'm the Patriots, I'm offering individual picks before I have to do that. But let's say it was 3 to 6 with Colton Miller. It depends how much the Patriots value Jalen Walker. There's a lot of weird variables here.
Yeah.
Like if the Patriots really like Jalen Walker, or somebody, or Tyler Warren, or Ashton Genty, whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders probably need to include another pick.
Okay.
Because that's about the equivalent of like a late first round pick, that move, which is not what Colton Miller's worth.
Yep. True.
Right. That's kind of where it feels like it sounds worth it. Oh, you move back 2 spots and then you get your left tackle of the future and you still have a first round pick. But you're right, Alex. Like in other situations, in other drafts, that could easily cost another team a first round pick next year and even more capital on the back end.
So, like, for me, like, if I'm the Patriots, I'm offering 69 and then, one of those 7th round picks.
Oh, okay. So not even 77. You're going 69?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the thing. If I needed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a high 3rd round pick. Let's say the Chiefs, they don't like any of the tackles in the draft. They desperately need a left tackle. They're trying to contend. They're trying to win right now. They're not worried about picks. They'll offer, or some contender will offer a late 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I would put 38 on the board. I wouldn't start with it, but I'd put it on the board because if we're working under the assumption the Patriots want Colton Miller, that means they don't believe in Will Campbell or Ariante Arcery at 4. Because if they did, you just take that guy. He's on a rookie contract. He's younger, yada, yada, yada. So if you don't believe in that guy at 4, we've talked about this. There's a really good chance you're going to need to use 38 to move up and get a tackle.
Yeah.
So you're probably using 38 to acquire a tackle either way. Is it a bit of an overpay? Yes. And I might want another later pick coming back, whatever. But and I don't think Colton Miller's going to get traded, so this is all irrelevant. But in theory, I'd start with those 3rd round picks. That might get it done. I would go to 38 if I needed to get the deal done.
38 is maybe where I draw the line, because I feel like at that point, Colton Miller's not perfect, but he is a quality left tackle. And while obviously getting someone who has had success in the league makes sense, he is approaching 30. I thought last night I was excited about maybe a 2nd, but I think I would probably stop at the 3rd. 69 is the size I go.
So they're in on Colton Miller in this scenario, which means they don't believe in Campbell or Membo. Okay. You're not going to trade 38 for Colton Miller. How are you getting your tackle?
I would say Ursery, Don. I still think those guys are good enough, and they have the left tackle experience that they could be fine as a rookie, even if they did struggle. And if you had to flip them in the next year, you could, like you said, the tackle draft might be better next year, especially at left. So maybe you try again that year.
So you would rather use 38, and if it's a trade up, if it's a pick on Ariante or one of those guys, opposed to trading it for Colton Miller. Because that's basically what's a better use of pick 38 is basically my question. Is it Colton Miller, or is it one of those 3rd tier tackles?
Oh, not a tackle. I would have gotten an offensive tackle before that.
I think
that's what I'm saying. So
right.
But you're not taking a tackle at 4 in this scenario. If they're in on Colton Miller, it means they're not taking a tackle at 4.
Right.
So now where's the tackle coming from?
38.
Right. So you're either taking one of those guys at 38 or trading 38 up to get one of those guys, or you're trading it for Colton Miller. What's a better use of 38?
I say Colton Miller. He's proven. He's played in the league. You need a guy who can automatically just essentially plug and play, and that's what he is. Where the other guys, you're still working on projection, which very well could work out. And then, like you said, Alex, it's a rookie contract versus an extension, but it's still a proven commodity. And at that point, Once you make the trade, all it costs is money.
So to me, there's no right answer to that question because you can make the case for the younger
Right.
player on the rookie contract, or you can make the case for the proven asset.
And like it all comes down to what their board says about Ursery, about Simmons if he falls. If they feel comfortable saying second round, we feel comfortable that even if there's a run, we are going to be able to get our guy. That's one thing. If they don't think that, then hell yeah, I'm cool with the second round pick for Miller because at that point you're getting a developmental guy anyway. If you don't think they're starters, you can get that guy in the third round.
That's basically where I'm at. It's because I've said this. I don't think Ursery's getting 38. Certainly not. So you're going to have to use that to trade up. You can use it to trade for Colton Miller. I think there's a case to be made that it's easier to just trade it for Colton Miller and get that question answered. Again, ideally, you get the trade done with 69, and you can pick somebody, you can pick a guard at 38, you can pick Tyler Booker, Grace Abel, or Donovan Jackson. But if push came to shove, like 9 days from today, which is the second day to the draft, we have to be able to answer the question, who is the Patriots left tackle? If that question is not definitively answered in 9 days, that's a major problem.
Amen.
It's a good point.
Amen.
We'll leave it at that.
That was good. Wow,
Thank you,
she was
Alex.
on the other foot there. It was like we were radio hosts there for a second.
That was awesome. Yeah.
I took it a completely other direction. Long time person. I took it completely other direction, but that's more the way I look at it.
Honestly, Bud, that's why we called you, because we were either going to get the straight answer or we were going to get the interesting answer, and we got a little bit of both. So thank you very much, buddy. All right, be safe.
Yeah, Alex.
Peace.
Alex Barth, 98.5, and host of the Patriots Beat podcast here on the CLNS Media Network, joining us for an impromptu call on a potential Colton Miller trade for the Patriots.
Today we're looking at the most QB-friendly third down back options in this year's draft class with an eye towards adding versatility and reliability to the Patriots running back room. Arizona State's Cam Scatabo is one of the most beloved prospects in this draft, and he earned it with the highlight and accolade-filled final season. The 23-year-old was named a first-team All-American in 2024, 2 years after being named Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year while at Sacramento State. Scatabo wins with excellent vision and contact balance, as well as tone-setting physicality and rare versatility. Not only did he contribute as a rusher, receiver, and blocker, but he also threw passes, punted, and has experience on kickoff coverage. Scatabo's well-rounded skill set was on full display during his offensive MVP performance in the Peach Bowl against Texas. He ran for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns on 30 carries, with his longest carry going for 33 yards. He also caught 8 passes for 99 yards, including a long of 62, and threw some strong blocks in pass protection. Scatabo even caught a deep pass off a double move while aligned outside the numbers, and he threw a 42-yard touchdown pass. Concerns around Scatabo include his long speed, his 10 fumbles over the past 3 seasons, and inconsistency in pass protection. He needs to be more accurate as a blocker and work smarter, not harder, to eliminate threats. And while his running style is easy to love, scouts do fear that it could lead to some unnecessary punishment at the next level, which would be pretty damaging considering all the tread that's already on his tires. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to become members of Patriots Press Pass here on YouTube for more breakdowns just like this, as well as a ton of other great bonus content.